Have you ever dissolved a cake of compressed yeast? This is what it looks like.
You might ask why I'm doing that. It's because we're making Betty Crocker's old-fashioned buckwheat cakes. So you have to make it overnight because it's got yeast in it.
I dissolved the cake with a half a cup of lukewarm water, and now I'm adding 2 cups cold water. This recipe calls for me to sift together 1 cup of wheat flour and 2 cups of buckwheat flour. This is not sponsored, but I got this from the old mill in Pigeon Forge, and I went for the light buckwheat flour. So I'm going to use this because you don't want a heavy, earthy buckwheat on the pancakes that I'm making. I've added 1.5 teaspoons of salt to the sifter with the flours in it, and then you just sift. Now that it's been sifted, go ahead and stir it into the mixture.
Sorry, I had to use both hands. So you're supposed to beat it until it's smooth. It's not smooth yet, but we'll just keep beating it. It helps to have a whisk.
It's now well mixed, and you see bubbles coming up because of the yeast. So we're going to cover it and put it in the fridge overnight. So it's been in for overnight, and we're going to let it sit for 30 minutes. This is what happened to it overnight. We're going to add in 1 teaspoon of baking soda that's been dissolved in hot water. It was a half a cup of hot water. We're putting 1/4 of a cup of melted butter.
And then 1 tablespoon of, I use the Robust Grandma's Molasses. It's probably a little bit more than 1 tablespoon, but that's okay. All you want to do at this point is just stir that in. Look how it just took all the air out of it. But you want to make sure it whips it up real good. And so you stir it in and then let it sit for a half hour.
It's been 30 minutes, so I'm take the plate off. We'll save that for the pancakes. Look at that batter. Yum. I've taken a cast iron griddle. I love this. It's from Lodge. And started the fire under it. So I'm going to take on my hot griddle, you can tell it's hot because the butter is smoking. I'm going to take and put 1/4 of a cup of the batter right onto it. And what we're going to do is wait until it starts bubbling through. It actually is already somewhat bubbling through. But it's a hot enough griddle that in a little bit you should be able to flip it over. We're going to wait a little bit because I don't want to flip it too soon. It should be good. You see on the edges it's starting. You just kind of start scraping it under there and then flip. And there it is.